Good evening. This is Tschorn and Jenn Harris with the Los Angeles Times, and we've been following what's going on the red carpet all afternoon, and we're going to give you a little bit of rundown about who was wearing what and what some of the trends were, and that's going to take you into Kenneth Turan and Robin Abkarian, who will talk about what's going on inside the theater. So, the big takeaway with the trends.
Yes, the trends.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry, the first thing we need to talk about is Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes.
Who's going to be poof or no poof?
And it was no poof.
It was no poof.
No poof. So she's wearing a beautiful red dress. She actually already fell down on the red carpet.
Yeah, she fell down before on her way in. We noticed that. We don't know who the designer is. We think it's probably going to be Dior.
Yes.
But she did trim down on the poof, and that was what our fashion critic, Booth Moore, had pleaded with her to do. So.
Yeah.
And the second big thing was Pharrell was going to be hat or no hat. You know, he made waves with this.
So we have our own hat
at the
course,
Grammys.
to show.
You know, it was going to bring maybe not this hat, but something similar.
Yes.
He didn't, but he did set the bar again with.
He had shorts.
Shorts.
Long van shorts.
Long van shorts, and they were trying to figure out, are they going to call it a short tux, a shucks?
A shucks.
Or
that's a new hashtag on Twitter now, shucks.
Booth weighed in from Paris and said the Bermuda tux.
Yes.
And he could pull it off.
He did. He always has a little swagger. He always has his own style. He brings it to things. So it worked. It definitely worked. Yeah.
I think that worked. And then one of the big trends on the women's side?
Kind of calling it safe, plain.
Yeah.
We're talking about what, champagne? We had a lot of champagne nude
Yep.
colors. Well, they were embellished, though, to a point, but everything was kind of that same color
Yeah,
spectrum.
it was a sort of nude champagne sort of thing. There was a Kate Blanchett in a Giorgio Armani gown. She said that was very heavy, it was very embellished. But she happened to come right on the heels of Sally Hawkins and then Sarah Paulson, and they all looked very, very similar.
Sally Hawkins had that long sleeve gown, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of conservative.
That was the big trend on the women's side, and I personally don't think it was as flattering as it could be.
No, we also had the two Kristens.
Oh, yes.
Kristen Chenoweth and Kristen Bell also had two of those gowns. Kristen Chenoweth, they were both in Cavalli.
Both Cavalli, the two Kristens and the two Cavallis.
Yes, Kristen Chenoweth had that. It kind of looked like a suit of armor.
Yeah, like a
they
Roman
both kind of
armor.
had the same shape to it too. So I mean, wasn't too impressed.
Yeah.
But
the men, on the other hand, their major trend, and they brought it. It was the white.
Yes.
The white tuxedo jacket.
Yeah, starting with Ryan Seacrest.
Who is almost always in Burberry, and he actually switched it up. Instead of a traditional tuxedo, went with a white shawl collar tuxedo jacket.
Yes,
I
but
think,
still in Burberry.
And I think it worked. Of course, when we first saw him, he was standing there with Wolfgang Puck and all the chefs. So
they were all in white
chef coats. Chef feeling.
Yeah.
But then there was Jared Leto, who was one of our big wild cards. What is he going to wear? He's been bringing a lot of different looks.
He didn't have the bun.
He didn't have the, no
man
there was no man bun for him to talk about backstage afterward. He had a burgundy bow tie, nice big bow tie. His hair was down. So he wore the white tuxedo jacket. That worked.
Yeah.
And then right at the very end, we saw Matthew McConaughey coming in a three-piece. He had I think it was a black waistcoat underneath, and a white, I think it was a shawl collar jacket.
Yeah, it looked like it.
And so I thought they really brought it. So that was the trend on that side. And there was also some standouts on the women's side. Lupita Nyong'o.
Yes. Yeah, so she brought a little bit of color. She had that custom-made Prada gown in that pastel blue. Gorgeous. She had that Fred Leighton headband, which added a lot to the look too. Look, that was gorgeous.
Oh,
it's almost like a fairy tale.
It was almost like a fairy tale, and it kind of pulled at my heartstrings. I'm looking at a picture on the monitor there that she said that she chose that color blue because it reminded her of Nairobi, and she was bringing a little bit of home with her.
Nice.
So, and I think that was one of the more stunning gowns. Another blue gown, although it was so very dark, but it was sapphire.
Yeah.
And we almost thought it was black at first. Was
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams.
In Gucci.
In Gucci, and Gucci premiere gown, and Booth had a blog post up a few minutes ago about this, and she said that it really kind of fell flat for her.
There's not a lot going on. It's a very sleek, dark gown. It was supposed to have been reminiscent of a tuxedo, which I don't think we would have known unless we read the release
seen
about
the press release. That there was some the fold down at the bodice is kind of reminiscent of maybe the wings on a tuxedo collar, and there's a subtle little train. But yeah, I would not have looked at that and said tuxedo inspired in any way. And Booth had said that she really had been kind of mining a little bit of her American hustle style all
Like,
the way
where
through
was
the
the
award
cleavage?
season, and there was like,
The
yeah,
cleavage
there's
was
no
totally
cleavage,
missing,
there's
yeah.
no, you know. And when she was at the Costume Designers Guild Awards last weekend, she was wearing a beautiful green dress with floral embellishments on the shoulders, and it was designed for her by a costume designer who's also the godmother of her daughter, I think. And that was kind of adventurous, and
Yeah.
this was not adventurous at all.
Well, she's kind of a wild card. She doesn't really pick one designer over another, but yeah.
And there was somebody else in blue who we wouldn't have automatically seen that she had her hair match her dress.
A little streak of blue.
Liza Minnelli.
Yeah. Look, there we go.
Yeah, was wearing a blue sort of bias one shoulder gown, and her hair had just a streak of blue that just sort of went parallel to the on the same diagonal as her dress.
But we also saw a lot of, I mean, so it either went nude, champagne, or kind of plain solid colors.
Yeah.
Like Charlize Theron and Julia Roberts were both in plain black gowns.
Right. They were coming in at the very end, and so we don't know who made their dresses.
Not yet, yeah.
But they were, yeah. It either went the very plain, dark colors. The women who weren't wearing the nude and champagne were pretty much, except for Lupita, I think, were pretty much all in. Now I'm trying to think back, all in the same sort of dark.
Yeah.
Color scheme.
Dark green, dark blue, black.
Viola Davis had a Escada gown
that was emerald green.
In emerald green.
Yeah.
So there were a little bit of the jewels, but yeah, all dark. And then Lupita in the light one, and then the men were all in the white. With the standout men were in the white tuxedo.
I think Kevin Spacey, he was also wearing Burberry.
Yes, he was also wearing Burberry.
He had like a two-tone lapel. It was blue.
See, I think it was was it a peak lapel, did I say?
I think it was, yeah.
And see, that's how a guy can make himself stand out while he's wearing the standard issue tuxedo.
Yeah, because they're all kind of wearing the same
right?
thing.
So you can either go with the white jacket, which is like full on different, or you can go. It was black. Contrast. It was like midnight blue or something. It was really dark blue, and with the black contrast here, and then right after the peak, it was blue and it matched the jacket, and I just thought that was just
a little nice touch.
Just a nice touch. It just made him stand out. So
yeah,
and that was good. So who else have we forgotten to mention? Anyone?
Let's see. Did you see Bette Midler?
Oh, Bette Midler came in at the end.
Yeah.
Did she say that? Was that?
She was wearing Reem Acra.
Reem Acra.
Yeah, and so it was a white gown. It had a little like red embroidery over it. I thought it was nice for her.
Yeah, she's performing tonight, and she also didn't mind putting up. They put up a picture of her in something that she'd worn a couple of years ago, and and so it was far improvement on that.
She tweeted it, so you guys go to Twitter to find this.
She brought a little bit of color. It was red. On a white background. It was kind of reminiscent of roses. So
yeah. So I mean, some people are breaking out a little bit, but not too much.
Okay. So that's pretty much that's the first little blush at what we're doing.
Yeah. First look at the red carpet.
And so now from here.
From here, you guys will definitely want to stay tuned. Columnist Robin Abkarian and our film critic Kenneth Turan are going to be coming up next, doing commentary during the show, kind of taking you guys inside, letting you know what's happening then. So stay tuned.